In continuity with the previous lecture in which we have discussed different cost curves and their shapes in detail, so there comes some of the properties of that cost curves that are most important to remember. So, the first property of the cost curves is marginal cost eventually rises with the quantity of output, and we have discussed this property in detail in the last lecture. So this property means that when a firm continues to produce more units of output, so the marginal cost starts rising with the quantity of output increasing. Now, the second property is the average total cost curve is U-shaped. Again, we have discussed this property in detail. So here, as we have discussed it earlier, this U shape of average total cost curve is because of law of diminishing marginal return that says that with increase in output, average cost declines, and when the total product reaches its maximum, average total cost is minimum, and when the total product is going to decline, so the average total cost starts increasing at this point. So U-shaped average total cost reflects the law of diminishing marginal returns. And coming to the last property, that is the marginal cost curve crosses the average total cost curve at the minimum of average total cost. And this point is known as efficient scale of the firm. Efficient scale is defined as the quantity of output that minimizes the average total cost. At this point, firm is producing at the maximum level of output where the average total cost of firm is minimum. In short, you can say that this is the point when total product is maximum and average total cost is minimum, and hence this point is known as efficient scale of the firm. Here the question arises why we call that point efficient scale of firm. And the answer to this question is if the firm continues to produce after this point, then its total product starts declining, and then the marginal product becomes negative. So it is better for the firm to stop at this efficient point where average total cost is minimum and total product has also reached the maximum level. Now the next slide is about costs in the short run and in the long run. In this chapter so far we have discussed different types of costs in short run where some of the costs were fixed. For example, you can say that we have fixed the cost of capital, and land is also fixed in the previous examples. Now, for many firms, the division of total cost between fixed and variable cost depends upon the time horizon being considered. Looking at this point, we can say firms have to face two types of time periods, that is short run and long run. We have also discussed that short run is such a time period in which capital is fixed and only the labor factor is considered to be variable. That means that we can change or the firm can change the amount of labor, but the firm cannot change the amount of capital in the short run. If the firm want to increase or decrease its production, so it can make these changings in production just by changing the quantity of labor, because capital is fixed in short run. And you can so you cannot change the amount of capital in short run. Now coming to long run, where all the factors of production, that is land, labor and capital, are variable and there is no fixed factor of production. So the firm can easily buy new building or land, or it can install new machines or equipments for production of goods as the firm has more time now. That means that it is in the long run. As many costs are fixed in the short run but becomes variable in the long run, so the firm's long run cost curve differs from its short run cost curve. So looking at the diagram here, we can say that the quantity is measured on x-axis, again the quantity of produced of output at x-axis, and we measure the average total cost on y-axis. So this figure represents three short-run average total cost curves for this one, second and the third one. Basically, you can say that these are the three short-run average total cost curve for a small factory. Again, average total cost in short run with a medium factory, and average total cost in short run with the large factory. Basically, there are three average total cost curves in short run with small, medium and large factories. And the efficient point in these three short run cost curves is the point where the average total cost is minimum. So we can say that the efficient point of these three short run average cost curves is the average total cost point where the average total cost is minimum. If we join the minimum points of these three curves, this one and this one, if we join the minimum points of these three curves, then this leads to long run average total cost curve. This red line, it basically shows the average total cost curve in long run. And the shape of the long run average total cost is different from short run average total cost curves. And the minimum cost will remain for a longer time in long run average total cost curve, while minimum cost in short run remains for a shorter period of time, and after that point, if firm continues to produce, then its average total cost starts rising. Then a long run average total cost is the combination of minimum points of short run average total cost curve in different factories. So again, you can see that long run average cost curve is the combination of minimum points of short run average total cost curves in different factories, that is smaller, medium and large factory. Now comes the last topic of this chapter, that is economies and diseconomies of scale. Basically, economies of scale refers to the property whereby long-run average total cost falls as the quantity of output increases. That is the point of long-run average total cost curve, which declines as the quantity of output increases. We can also see with the help of diagram. Now it's more clear with the help of this diagram that economies of scale refers to that portion where the average total cost in long run decreases with the increase in quantity of output. You can see here. This is known as economies of scale. Second one is, and the second is diseconomies of scale. That refers to the property whereby long run average total cost rises as the quantity of output rises. Again, with the help of diagram, we can see here this portion refers to diseconomies of scale when long run average total cost rises as output increases, so they are said to be diseconomies of scale. And the last one is constant returns to scale. Constant returns to scale refers to the property whereby long run average total cost stays same as the quantity of output. That means when long run average total cost does not vary with the level of output, then they are said to be the constant returns to scale. And we can see it from the diagram as well. Okay, this middle portion refers to constant scale, constant returns to scale, which means that when long run average total cost does not vary with the level of output, then they are said to be the constant returns to scale. So again, we have three different short-run average total cost curves, and we get the long-run average total cost curve by the combination of minimum points of short-run average total cost curves. These ones. We have discussed that there are three different short-run average total cost curves. Like the first one depicts that average total cost in short run with small factory. Another is the average total cost in short run with minimum factory. And the third one is average total cost in short run with large factory. And we get the long run average total cost curve, that is here in red line, this one. This is the long run average total cost curve, and we get that long run average total cost curve by the combination of minimum points of short run average cost curves. So we have discussed economies of scale, diseconomies of scale, and constant returns to scale. So when long run average total cost is falling, like in this portion of the diagram, this one, where the long run average total cost curve is falling, it is known as economies of scale, because at this point average cost is decreasing and increasing with the increase in output. That means at this point average total long run average total cost curve is falling with increase in the output. That means the quantity of output is increasing here, and this portion of the long run average cost curve is known as economies of scale. Now the second part of the long run average total cost curve represents the constant returns to scale, this portion. where the long run average total cost curve is constant but output is increasing. Here you can say that output is increasing but the long run average total cost curve is constant at this stage. So this is known as constant returns to scale. And the third part is diseconomies of scale, where it shows that long run average cost curve is rising. This portion, now it's clear from the image that this red line is rising, and this red line is actually the long run average total cost curve. Here the average long run average total cost curve is rising and output is also rising, and you can see that there, let's suppose if there is some amount of output, then when this point comes, there must be increase in the quantity of output produced. So it's evident that diseconomies of scale refers to the point where the long run average total cost curve is rising, and at the same point output is also rising. So here this is known as diseconomies of scale. So this portion basically represents diseconomies of scale, where long run average total cost curve is rising along with increase in output. And this middle portion is the constant returns to scale, where we can say that long run average total cost is constant but output is increasing at this point, and this point refers to constant returns to scale. And there comes when we say that this is known as economies of scale, where we can say that long run average total cost is declining. That means there is a decline in long run average cost curve, and also there is increase in output. That means here the output is increasing while long run average total cost curve is decreasing here. So this portion mainly tells us the economies of scale. So by this we have completed our chapter number 13.